Shalom, this is your brother Yashamai. Before I get into this message, I want to start off by giving all praises, all glory, and all honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahabushai, Bahashem, Rakwakadash. I want to send double honors to the elders and the apostles, a great millstone, who rule and teach well, of whom was given the 100% truth, of whom I learned from. It truly is a pleasure. And this is going to be Proverbs 5. The Proverbs read different with the understanding, with the 100% truth of who we are. We being you blacks, Hispanics, and natives. And who are we? We are the real Israelites mentioned in the Bible. You are not black. You are swarthy. You're a darkened complexion. And you are not Mexican, just like you were not Aztec. You are the northern tribes. All right? And you are not Native Americans. You are also part of the northern tribe that left through the Assyrian captivity, came through the Horn of Africa, and then went into what is now modern-day Mexico, and then worked your way up. So when you have the understanding of who we are as a people, these Proverbs, what is wisdom? Let's get it. Proverbs 5:1, my son. And who are his sons? You Israelites. These scriptures were never meant for anybody else. My son, attend unto my wisdom and bow thine ear to my understanding. So it's not the understanding of the Catholic Church. It's not the understanding of what the world tells you. It's not the understanding of what you think is right, because that's one thing when you try to talk to people about the truth, what's the first thing that they say? Oh, well, God can't just love one group of people and hate the rest. It just doesn't seem right. And well, it's like Proverbs 5:1 says, attend to his wisdom, not your wisdom. Your ways are not his ways. His thoughts are higher than our thoughts. So it's, attend unto his wisdom. 5:2, that thou may regard discretion, and that your lips may keep knowledge. So staying in the wisdom, listening to messages, staying in the scriptures, keeps our lips attending to knowledge, and that really is true, because if you just know that you're an Israelite and you're not in the scriptures, you're not trying the best you can to fulfill the law, if you just know that you are and you step back into the world, you've done nothing. Matter of fact, you've put a bigger target upon yourself, because now you know better. Now you know better, but you're still choosing Esau Edom's world. So staying in the scriptures, listening to messages, this is what keeps knowledge in you. This is how you can come off the dome with scriptures, This is how, when you're at camp, you can precept the brothers when they're going, when they're preaching. Verse 3, for the lips of a strange woman drop as a honeycomb, and her mouth is smoother than oil. So who is this strange woman? It's not talking about a prostitute. The strange woman in scripture, strange women, wine, other waters, it's talking about philosophy. So for the lips of a strange woman drop as a honeycomb. Now who is that strange woman? Well, there are many strange women, because Proverbs 5 and even Proverbs 7 talks about the strange woman, talks about prostitutes, and at one point Yahweh called the nation of Israel the biggest prostitute, because we were not abiding to his law, but we were abiding to his law plus part of the Egyptians, plus part of this heathen, plus of Moab. We had the law, but we were in we were also trying to be like everyone else. And I mean, we see that even to this day, you know. So for this lips of a strange woman, again, that's philosophy. The lips of another philosophy drop as a honeycomb, and her mouth is smoother than oil. So the wisdom of this world does fade away, man. The fashion of this world does fade away, but it seems good. You know, it sounds good when you hear that a woman is equal to a man. It sounds good, but it's not true. You know, love is love. You know, that bullshit. Yeah, love is love, but that doesn't give abomination and sexual misconduct an excuse to run rampant. It sounds good. Verse 4, but her hand is bitter as wormwood, sharp as a two-edged sword. It leads to death. The end leads to death. And then I like how it says sharp as a two-edged sword, because the first thing that comes to mind is it can't stand on itself. Like, it cannot stand on itself. It says it's like a two-edged sword, because we know the word is a two-edged sword, but it's like a two-edged sword because the word of Yahweh cuts both ways, right? But this one says that it's sharp as a two-edged sword, because just like the word of Yahweh can correct you and those in front of you, the strange lips of the lips of a strange woman can also destroy you and destroy what's in front of you. For example, look at the women's rights movement. It was never about women's rights, you know. It was always about getting more tax revenue. And that's why they said that women could vote. They never cared about you. Why? Because now you see the double-edged about that. Now you see the transgenders going in there and beating up women in the boxing ring, man. So it's destruction on both ends. That's the double-edged sword there. Verse 5, her feet go down to death. Her steps take hold on hell. Now we know her feet are symbolic of its foundation, where it comes from. And what is the feet of the strange woman of Babylon? What is the foundation of this New Age philosophy? The foundation is Rome. The foundation is the devil. And they go down to hell. It comes from the basis of men, and it leads to destruction. Verse 6. So now verse 6 ties in with verse 1. Tend to his wisdom, lest thou should ponder the path of life. Her ways are movable, that thou canst. Lest thou should ponder the path of life. Her ways are movable, that thou canst not know them. Hear me now, therefore, O ye children, and depart now from the words of my mouth. So don't try to fit nothing of this world in with the truth. The truth is the truth. All right? Now that we've been awakened, and we know what our law says, and we know that it is our law, there is no mixing. There is no, the women are weaker, but not my wife. There is no, there is no, what's the word here? There is no substitute bacon, man, you know. There is no buying turkey bacon, you know, and trying to eat that too. Like, you can't be halfway with it. This is the law. Stay to it. Verse 8. Remove your way far from her. Who is her? Her is that strange woman. Her is that philosophy of this world. And come not near the door of her house. Don't even entertain it. If you are still entertaining that, you are just like that drunken man. I think it's in Proverbs 27, that tries to mix wine and gets his ass beat. You're trying to be an Israelite, but you got one foot in the world. Like, don't even go anywhere near it. You know, don't incline your ear to that. Verse 1 says, bow your ear to his understanding. You know, bowing connotes a sense of humility. Come there ready to learn, ready for correction. Don't just go there to listen and then, go back into other philosophies. Verse 9, lest thou give thine honor unto others, and thy years unto the cruel, lest strangers be filled with thy wealth, and thy labors be in the house of a stranger. Again, what is your wealth? What is the wealth of an Israelite? The wealth of an Israelite is salvation. So lest thou give thine honors, and you give your wealth to them, meaning you just throw it away, and your labors be in the house of a stranger. And that's, this entire time that we were dead in the valley of death, before Abba Bivin stepped onto the scene, and even before we woke up, we were building up the house of the wicked, man. And that's heavy. We were trying to vote. We were, trying to be friends with the enemy, Esau, the so-called white man. We were building that house, man. So now that we understand that we were building in the house of the wicked, now we have double the task, because now we have to tear that down, and we have to build up the house of Yahweh. That's deep right there, man. Our labors were in the house of a stranger. Everything that we were building was death. Voting, trying to be friends with everyone, accepting everyone, trying to fit in trying to be accepted by the enemy, man. God. 11, and thou mourn at the last when thy flesh and thy body are consumed, because it leads to death. It leads to death, leads to judgment. And say, how have I hated instruction, and my heart despised reproof, and have not obeyed the voice of my teachers, nor inclined my ear to them that instructed me. I was almost in all evil in the midst of the congregation and assembly. All right, so talking about that day of judgment, because that day is coming. Every knee is gonna bow when Yahushua shows up. When you look up in the sky and there is no sky, but there's a big mountain, a big UFO, so-called UFO. When you see the army of Yahweh of hosts, you're gonna that's what you're gonna say. Verse 12: how have I hated instruction? Like, damn, I should have listened to them Israelites. I should have listened to them, because it's not what we're saying. We're not. This isn't no Tommy Robinson, no damn no self-help. This is the scriptures. We're not telling you what we think. We're telling you what the Bible says. So ultimately, it comes down to: do you believe the Bible, or do you believe Esau? Are you going to live your life on the Bible, or are you going to live your life on what the so-called white man tells you, man? Verse 15, drink waters out of thine own cistern, and running waters out of thine own well. Stay to your philosophy. Stop trying to go drink in everybody else's philosophy. Stop trying to look up, IUIC videos. Stop trying to look up WFI videos. Stop trying to engage in other waters. If you believe that this is 100% truth, this is all that you should be watching. Stop trying to get waters. If you understand that you shouldn't be getting waters from the well of Edom, if you shouldn't be getting instruction from the well of America, that applies for other Israelite camps too. Either you're subscribed to the 100% truth, or you're not. That's all it comes down to. Verse 16, let thy fountains be dispersed abroad, and rivers of waters in the streets. Let them be only thine own, and not strangers with thee. Don't try to mix this truth. Don't try to say Esau can be saved. Don't try to say everyone can be saved. Don't try to say that the Russians can be saved. Stick to the truth. Stick to the 100% doctrine. Verse 18, let thy fountain be blessed, and rejoice with the wife of thy youth. Staying to the truth, staying in the scriptures brings blessings. And we're not talking about earthly blessings. We're not talking about it's going to make you rich. It's going to give you, what is the biggest blessing? Salvation. And we have that. And rejoice with the wife of thy youth. What is our youth? What is the youth of the Israelites? The wife of the youth was Yahweh and his law. Our youth, our heritage is based upon the love of Yahweh. That is our first love. That is the love of our youth. That is our first love, that he chose us. So it says, rejoice with her. And rightfully so, we should rejoice, because we have a power that he could have picked anybody else, but he chose us. You know, Paul writes about that. It's not anything we did. And then even Yahweh tells the prophet that. He says, I saw you in your blood, in your dirt, in your filth. I picked you up and I cleaned you up. He could have chose a fucking a Moabite, man, but he chose us. So that in itself, salvation can be attained. That's something to rejoice about. That's something to rejoice about. Verse 19, let her be as the loving hind and pleasant roe. Let her breast satisfy thee at all times, and be thou ravished always with her love. Be satisfied in this wisdom. Don't go, when things get difficult, don't try to find wisdom in the earth. Go to the scriptures. When you come, when you're dealt a difficult decision to make, run to her. Be ravished with her. Let the wisdom, breast, let the wisdom of the truth satisfy you. Let this be enough. Verse 20, and why will you, my son, again talking to, this is very affectionate. It's talking to the Israelites. Why will you, my son, be ravished with a strange woman and embrace the bosom of a stranger? I mean, that's a good question. Why would we choose the wisdom of the earth when we are the only nation that was ever given the law? Psalms 147, 19 and 20. Why? That's like winning. We have literally won the spiritual lottery, and yet we're putting down that big ass check that they have you take a picture with. You're setting down that $100 billion trillion check, which is eternal salvation, and you're going to fiat currency. You're going to printed money, man. Why? Why would you choose that? Why? There is no good reason why. Verse 21, for the ways of man are before the eyes of Yahweh, and he ponders all his going. His own iniquities shall take the wicked himself, and he shall be holden with the cords of sins. Yahweh sees what the wicked is doing, and he also sees what you're choosing. He shall die without instruction, and in the greatness of his folly he shall go astray. It's talking about you Israelites that choose not to bow your ear to the 100% truth. And it's also talking about Esau, Edom. So that's I hope this lesson has been edifying. That's Proverbs 5. And with that I say shalom. Shalom.